Now our penultimate presentation when it comes to our quick fire speakers. Please welcome to speak to Freshwater for our taonga, Jane Kitson from Kitson Consulting, Helen Warburton from University of Canterbury, and Erina Watene from Waikato. Sorry. Do I do this to you every time?
No, I just do it to you.
You do it to me. Okay, ka pai, Kitty.
Kia ora anō, ko Jane Kitson hau, ko no Mirika hau, ko kaitahu kati mai mo me Waitahana iwi. I come from the deep south, where this taonga, which we're seeing, and I've been told I've got 3 minutes, so I better be quick. I just also want to highlight that up here there's co-leaders and of the project, and also a magical project manager, Kerri-Anne, but I also want to signify there are others in this room that can they give me a kana wave, please? Come on. Oh yes, excellent. That's not, yeah, okay. Right, and I'll explain what a kana is very shortly. So for, since, I think December 2022, my memory is vague, we started this project looking at freshwater for our taonga, and it has 3 different objectives. It's the voice of the taonga species, and that has the kana involved, or piaro, as the North Islanders may refer to it, and I'll talk a little bit about that soon, only a little bit, because I could go on for hours and hours about that species. We also have an action and project around tuna, a very important species, and those 2 projects are actually led and run by the Tiaki Kaitiaki and supported by our team in here. And they are talking tomorrow morning, and so we'll have some exciting talks there. And then we also are all involved in the restoration and centering on biotic interactions. Now I mentioned kana, piaro, New Zealand, well not actually New Zealand, pouched lamprey, because the gentleman ones when they get older get a big pouch. A customary fishery really well known in Ngaitahu Takiwa and in other Takiwa and Taranaki, Whanganui, those areas. That has been on the fossil records there, tupuna, for millions and millions of years before the dinosaurs. And so I've seen many changes of this world. And so I'm leading the voice of the taonga species, and in a sense, it's an emmetic species to actually listen to and to understand, because that actually has been here much longer than us. And who better to speak on it?
This is at Māngai Ferry.
On their mass migration. And when you sit near the awa, you centre yourself on the species that are in there, and this is partly what our project is about, is actually considering from the taonga itself what its voice is saying and what we need to do. And so when I think about what this taonga would tell me, this ancient species, it would be a collective and united voice, because you see them together. You know that there's a whakatauki about how manawa piriro, they come, the strength and force that they have. It's also centred on the taio and also on the tangata tiaki, kaitiaki that are involved in it, so they're empowering them to go forward.
So we've got like 2 minutes each, I think, and so my research aim was around tuna. And this project was pretty much, this research was a collective of iwi in the Waikato and Waipa river catchment, many of whom are here today, and there's a bigger presentation tomorrow from the community directly. So the 2-minute speed dating version starts now. So the collective involved Waikato Tainui, Ngāti Koraki Kahukura, Raukawa, Te Arawa River Iwi Trust, Ngāti Tahu, Ngāti Whāua, Ngāti Kia, Ngāti Tuara, and Maniapoto. It was a coalition of the willing, you might say, and very much a story of mobilising for action, all kind of key BioHeritage words. This research was absolutely 100% initiated by iwi, for iwi, with iwi, and it was all based on iwi aspirations. It was holistic, so we were looking at different life cycle stages, so the alvas as well as the downstream migrants. And we're growing the next gen of scholars, kaitiaki and decision makers, and actively trying to replace ourselves, which is always the goal. And surprisingly, the lessons were not always top down. Often we got schooled by our kids, not surprisingly. So sometimes we think we know it all and all that stuff, but nah, often it was the interns or other people that kind of put us in our place. So our research was inclusive, and it adds to the scholarship around Indigenous approaches to conservation. And the impacts have been pretty amazing, so hopefully you get the chance to see tomorrow's talk. We do this work not only to save the tuna, but also to retain our mātauranga, transfer knowledge, continue with our practices and beliefs. And the keys to our success have pretty much been relationships plus, I was going to do a formula because it's a science kind of hui, but relationships plus respect plus a common purpose plus resourcing and some know-how equals getting shit done. So, and back in my mana rangatira days, I'm Matua Kevin at the back, he would always hold our governance group to account, and he'd say, look, we're investing in all of this research, but have we saved a tree? And so Matua Kevin, I can say 100% we did not save a tree, but but we did save heaps of tuna, and you'll find out a bit more about that tomorrow. So thanks to the challenge for the resourcing to date, and just noting that we'll be continuing with this mahi when the challenge dies, because no matter what, the tuna are still going to be turning up at the dam, the migrants are still going to be wanting to get back out, and we have an obligation and responsibility as tangata whenua, and we'll be there regardless. But if anyone does have some sweet food here, see us at the bar after. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So hopefully you get to see the full presentation tomorrow. Kia ora.
Kia ora. I'm going to try and do this in a minute. I'm Helen. I'm a freshwater ecologist from the University of Canterbury, and I came into this program of work having been involved in a Tranche 1 project focused on the importance of biotic interactions, or the interactions between organisms in restoration efforts. But being involved in the Freshwater for our taonga project has been an incredible experience, getting to work alongside this amazing team and the wider team. And it has been good learning experience, and something I'm very, very grateful for. I can't quite believe I'm standing up here speaking today. And it's really brought in mine, and I really hope the rest of my team's thinking around freshwater restoration and our ways of working, and I'm really appreciative for that. Oh yeah, my slide, irrelevant. And so I think there's been some really big benefits from my perspective of being involved in this program, and some really key things in the ways of working and the challenge which have enabled this, and I want to briefly reflect on these. So firstly, valuing different types of outputs, and a shout out to Saskia Brown for this amazing artwork, has really freed us up to be able to spend time forming relationships, which has been a large part of the work that we have done in this program. Being able to meet, listen, learn and share at place, whether for me that's been with the incredible Whanganui-a-Tara team or on farms in the Pūtaiao catchment. These have been important times of connection and invaluable. We also have an incredible cohort of students and people early in their careers, which I'm really proud of, and being able to grow, develop and broaden their networks to develop a connected cohort for the future that embodies this way of working is fantastic. And just because we have done things a little bit differently, or they feel a little bit differently, doesn't mean there isn't incredible research coming out of this program, and I'm excited for people to hear the talks tomorrow. But it's really only just starting, and for us to be able to build these trusted relationships, it takes time and resource and energy. It doesn't just happen. And so I see that being as important and essential for the work going forward, but also a challenge in terms of the future funding and resourcing. And I want to pass on to Kerri-Anne very briefly for 7 seconds, because without her, this program would not function in this way.
It's all right, I'm very nimble. I've just cut my talk down to a very short thing. So I really want to shout out to the Challenge Leadership Group and the Challenge as a whole for supporting the way that we've worked, because we've had 6 contracts and no host entity for the program, hence the need to have a bridge, which is what Erina calls me, or has called me, in terms of achieving this work. So I think it's really vital that we've had a small connected leadership group encompassing researchers already embedded in the work, the communities and with established relationships. There's been no single host entity or principal contractor holding the money, and that's been really, really important as well. And a project or program manager with a seat at the leadership table. So my role's been around supporting the connections, coordinating and undertaking the reporting, helping to prioritise, negotiate, contribute to the research where appropriate and communicate it. So a shout out to science communication as well. So to conclude, there is no endpoint for this program. The work is ongoing. I'm channeling aroha here. Working for, working with and working within the communities is an imperative to success, and we're really committed to these relationships beyond June 30th. Kia ora.
Kia ora koutou katoa. You're such good rule followers. I love it. And I do appreciate that it was a very interesting calculation. Something plus something gets what done. And also the reference to, like you just said, manawa piharo. So we talk about people having great stamina, and you can see why great stamina is needed by the piharo. And also when you're talking about tuna, about the eel, being kiri tuna, having skin like a tuna as someone who is very tough and resilient and determined to keep on going past June 30th. Ake, ake, ake.